Today on Nature Adventures, we're going to visit the Black Hills Wild Horse Sanctuary.
You ready? Let's go!
Hi, I'm Terry.
And I'm Todd, and we love to explore nature.
We want you to experience what we do. So come along with us and our buddy Tom,
who films the wild creatures and areas with us as we encounter them.
With no huge camera crew, no big production, just us.
It's a real nature adventure, and we sure have fun doing it. Welcome to Nature Adventures. I'm Todd, this is Terry, and we're coming to you today from beautiful Chamberlain, South Dakota.
Now, the area that we're going to today, the Black Hills Wild Horse Sanctuary, the land reminds me a lot of the rolling hills that you find here near Chamberlain.
Yeah, it is very similar, and you know, 1,000 years ago, there were wild horses probably roaming the hills here. But today, the place you're going to find them are sanctuaries like the one we find south of Hot Springs at the Wild Horse Sanctuary.
And when we go out roaming with the horses today, we're going to bring along a visitor, my daughter.
Yep, it's Take My Daughter to Work Day for Terry, so we did that. And I got to point out that these two are two peas in a pod. They are very similar in ways I may not appreciate all the time, but of course that's something you'll have to watch. And we could watch or we could talk. What should we do?
I think we should watch.
Okay.
Over the course of the next couple of days, Todd and I will be exploring the Black Hills Wild Horse Sanctuary south of Hot Springs, South Dakota. This is a working ranch which is home to 500 wild horses, most of which, as you can see, aren't too camera shy.
Well, Terry and I are at the Black Hills Wild Horse Sanctuary south of Hot Springs. 11,000 acres of one of the most beautiful areas I've ever been to.
And 500 free roaming wild horses here.
Yes.
And they're amazingly friendly.
Yeah.
Aren't they? Yeah, they really like cameras. They really seem to like us.
Yeah.
They're excited for their Nature Adventures debut.
And like all animals, they love the windsock on our microphone. They're always attracted to that.
I thought he was just trying to slime up the lens because Tom just cleaned it.
100 years ago, there were about 2 million wild horses roaming freely across open ranges. But today, about 25,000 wild horses roam the United States. Horses became domesticated about 4,000 to 5,000 years ago in the region of the Black Sea. As we all know, once man domesticated horses, the world was a different place, as man had an efficient form of transportation as well as a partner to help him with his duties.
Horses are herd animals which live in groups and help each other survive. Wild horses are also known as Mustangs. The word Mustang comes from a Spanish word which means ownerless beast. The American Mustangs originally came from the Spanish stock of horses brought to America in the beginning of the 16th century. Mustangs come in a variety of shapes, color patterns, and sizes. The average size is about 14 to 15 hands high, and they can weigh around 1,000 pounds. They can live around 25 to 30 years. Horses are smart, they're hardy, very agile, and very spirited. Here at the Black Hills Wild Horse Sanctuary, they have over 11,000 acres to enjoy and roam.
The horses here are so beautiful. There's such a variety.
They're so curious.
It's almost like they have their own personalities and their own unique looks.
Yes.
You know, you think a horse is a horse is a horse.
Of
but
course,
they're just like,
but if you
a horse is a horse, of course.
If you were a horse, which horse would you be?
Oh,
pick one out.
Gosh, they're all so beautiful. It would have to be probably that blonde one over there.
A blonde horse.
Yeah, right. She's got that long, straight blonde mane. How about you?
Well, all right, he agrees, yeah. But I think...
he's going to show us his better half.
I would have to pick one with an awesome hairdo, of course. I think I think right here with the cockleburs and everything.
The leaves and cockleburs.
Yeah, that'd probably be one.
There are few places that you can go today that are the same as they were thousands of years ago. This landscape hasn't changed.
Well, we're taking a little break from the sanctuary right now and the horses and all that. And the neat thing about this place is there's a lot of little secluded areas like that, shaded, nice and cool, that you can find and relax. And this is truly an amazing place.
It sure is. How do you enjoy take your daughter to work day? Do you enjoy coming to work with Mom?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would think so. But yeah, I mean, there's so much here. There's so much here. I mean, horses, it's the Wild Horse Sanctuary, Black Hills Wild Horse Sanctuary. So of course that's the main thing. And the horses, seriously, the most cooperative subjects we've ever had on the show.
I think so. It's certainly more cooperative than this one. And I'm not talking about her, I'm talking about this one.
Yeah, but we talk about the natural beauty of this place, and it's really spectacular. And the one thing I found, and we've talked about this off camera, is that it's all the best of the hills. We've got places like this that are, you know, wooded with the evergreens that you expect to find in the hills, but then there's the open areas, the prairie. It's got everything.
There certainly are a lot of photo opportunities around here. Ashley took my camera and she even took some amazing photos.
Yeah, look at this. Great job. Mother like daughter, I guess, right?
You got my eye, didn't you? How could you go wrong, though, really, here?
No, that's true.
Anywhere you snap, you're going to capture beauty.
Mom, this place sure is beautiful.
Well, not as beautiful as you two are. Did I say that right? Did I get my line right? Okay.
Looking around this place, it's hard to believe that it was the works of one amazing man that made this all possible. Dayton Hyde is a cowboy, photographer, conservationist, and author of 15 books. He has been the subject of several nationally televised documentaries and was named an Amazing American by People magazine. In 1988, he founded the Black Hills Wild Horse Sanctuary.
So from what I understand, you've had a pretty interesting life. I mean, a little bit more interesting than just being on nature adventures.
Well, I've lived a long time, and I started out as a cowboy in Oregon, and eventually bought my uncle's ranch. But in order to get an education, I was a rodeo clown, and back in the 40s, I did some assignments for Life magazine as a photographer, and I'd never ran out of things to be interested in, so I've done a lot of different things that were adventures, I guess. I didn't want to go through life and lead a dull life. There are too many dull lives lived, and you've got to make the adventures happen. So.
Well, there's definitely adventures happening right here at the sanctuary. Now tell me, what was it that motivated you to start this?
I grew up with wild horses, and the first horses I ever broke when I was a kid were Mustangs we captured from the wild, and I owe them for a great deal of happiness and joy through the years. And I was buying cattle in Lovelock, Nevada for the ranch in Oregon to summer up there, and I passed government feedlots full of 1,000 or so captured Mustangs, and they were so dejected, and it just made me mad, and I decided that I would do something about it. So, being, I guess, impulsive, I called my kids and told them to take over the ranch, that I was going to make a sanctuary for wild horses. So I took off, and in South Dakota I found some great horse range, probably the best horse range in the world. And it's great buffalo grass country and great for wintering horses. Buffalo grass keeps a lot of its nutrition in the winter. So I was buying land down in Oklahoma, and the governor of South Dakota, the former governor, or late governor, Mickelson, heard about it, and he'd read some of my books, and got a hold of me and said he'd fly me around an area in a helicopter that really needed saving. So he flew me over this place, and I just fell in love with it. There were so many sacred Indian sites here, and so much wildlife, and petrified wood, and remnants of mastodon hunters' camps. And
Really?
And he was concerned that the subdividers were going to get a hold of it, and in fact, they already had money put down on the place, but the rancher who owned this hadn't cashed a check. So he liked me better than he liked them.
So in a sense, you sort of saved the land too.
So Beyond having a place where we could run hundreds of wild horses free, it's 11,000 or so acres. The horses have a great life here, and I love giving them that freedom. But through the years that I've been here, I've also realized that the horses are my partners in saving a very beautiful piece of land. It's set up so it can never be built on, and it's a private non-profit. So we just, that pleases me that if I come back as a wild horse in 100 years, I'll have a place to run free.
Well, we've sure had a good time running free right here at the sanctuary on our visit, that's for sure.
These horses are beautiful, and you won't see a sad-eyed horse here. They're just so happy, and we have an upstairs and a downstairs here. You're looking at the downstairs, but we go back in that country about 8 miles, and wonderful upland prairies of buffalo grass, and that's where the horses stay most of the time.
And the wildlife abounds here too.
It doesn't take long when you start protecting things that word gets out among the deer and the eagles and the coyotes and the
they invite their
mountain
friends.
lions, and they invite their friends, and pretty soon you got a lot of things dependent upon you. But it's a responsibility, this land. This is a place where tourists come, and we take them on tour, and we can teach them like conservation ethics and whatnot, and go in the back door to their brains and leave them with ideas they never thought of before.
That's for sure. And for me, it sort of grounds you and gives you a greater appreciation. Because it is so real here. It feels like you're stepping back in time because it is so untouched.
When you look out there, that's the way it looked thousands of years ago. And there are no telephone lines or roads cutting up. And the movie companies really love it here because they don't have to worry about people or sounds, and some people come here just to hear the silence.
And Todd and I have always said that Mother Nature makes the best sets.
Yeah. Times have changed, but this land stays the way it is.
That's for sure.
So we're all about nature here, but I've got to point something out. That the way we had to set this shot up is that you're a lot taller than Terri. So Terri,
what are you doing?
come over here. She had to sit on nature's telephone book to get her tall enough to do this interview. I just wanted to point that out.
And I teetered there most of the time, but luckily I have good balance.
Yeah, good for you.
Otherwise it would be something for the blooper reel.
That rock will never be the same
It'll
again.
never be the same. Yeah.
They may put it in our treasury.
As we explored the sanctuary, we saw that nothing has been developed here, including the roads, and we wouldn't have it any other way. Well, you know, Terri, what's interesting about this spot, not that you're standing in my head shade like always, but one thing I didn't expect and didn't know about, there's a movie set here at the sanctuary. This is a movie set for Crazy Horse. That was a TV movie that was on TNT in 1996. Yeah.
Yeah, but it really shouldn't come as that surprising that a movie would want to place their set here because it is so unique and so unlike anywhere else in the world. Really.
Yeah, that's true.
Think about it. It's Mother Nature's set.
This area is kind of famous for movies. Hidalgo was filmed in this area. And of course, now we're filming here, so it's like a step up each time.
Wow.
I
Right.
think.
Yeah.
Carla Laree from the Wild Horse Sanctuary told us about the history and other features of this area.
Now, before we began, we agreed Terri would interview Dayton, and then you would interview me, or I would interview you, because we understand you have experience in keeping your male co-star kind of in check, looks-wise and stuff.
That's true,
So
yes.
Terri decided this would be the best thing because today she said that my hair looks like a dead raccoon on my head.
Well, it has some life to it.
So it's not quite dead yet. It's like a half-dead raccoon on my head. Carla, tell us about the sanctuary. Tell us about the history. How did all this begin?
Well, it's a beautiful story. It begins with Dayton Hyde, our founder and president of the Institute of Range and American Mustangs, who's the proud owner of the Black Hills Wild Horse Sanctuary. We've been here 23 years, operating year-round as a wild horse sanctuary. We have over 300 wild horses and also about 150 domestic horses. And you saw the cattle today. We have Red Angus cattle. So this is a beautiful land. It's forever protected by this deed of perpetuity, which simply says that you can't subdivide it, you can't mine it, you can't build on it. Good. The only part that you can change is, obviously we're standing in a movie set right here. There's a 12-acre lien here that allows for improvement, including the visitor center, right, and then the private home here on the location. And this movie set, we can have a movie set here, and it doesn't go against that deed.
Well, what struck Terri and I is, let's come and let's film wild horses at the sanctuary. Mm-hmm. And of course, that's awesome. It's unbelievable. But there is so much more.
Yes.
This movie set, wow,
yes,
we didn't know about this. And the landscape here, the topography is just breathtaking.
Yes.
It really is. It's way different than anything you're going to see in the hills. It's really different. Or the whole state of South Dakota, or pretty much the whole Midwest.
That's true. It's a very unique composition of geology, mostly sandstone rim rock, as you can see behind us, and it has a scrub growth of ponderosa pine trees because it's a very arid land. It's an unusual place where you get a deciduous evergreen.
We're being bombarded by mourning doves, too.
That was a mourning dove fly-through there.
Okay, yeah, we've got those trained,
I was going to say this is a no-fly zone, but I think that dove had a different idea. But
for the movie Jaws 12, mourning doves have Jaws too. But anyway,
yes.
But the other thing is there's a lot of history here, yes, and I think that's the next thing we're going to look at,
yes,
and we're going to talk about that. So let's go.
Okay, let's go.
Where should we go?
I don't know. I'll follow you.
Oh, that's a really bad idea.
Throughout the area are petroglyphs, meaning ancient markings on rock cliffs depicting stories and artwork thousands of years old. Years ago, people recorded their adventures right here by carving them into a rock. And seeing how neither one of us can draw, Terri, I'm sure grateful for the invention of cameras.
That's for sure. Some of these look familiar. The size of this one's head makes me wonder what year Todd was here.
In more recent history, stagecoaches would stop here and passengers would also make their mark on the cliffs.
People continue to make their marks over the years, and thanks to the development of the sanctuary, this land is protected and this piece of history is preserved.
This was an ancient encampment for thousands of years. And in another sense of the word, it could be an ancient billboard. So let's assume that my family came along and scratched out a picture, and then your family came along, and then years later, Todd's family came along. So you have hundreds of stories.
I think his would be way before mine. But yeah, I know
exactly,
what you mean.
Exactly. So this is just a storyline of thousands of families coming through this region for the hunting, for the gathering, for ceremony, for special gatherings and seasonal gatherings, and when they came through, they talked about their story on this beautiful rim rock.
Thanks to this wall's overhanging rock, these petroglyphs are protected from the elements, which should help preserve them for many years.
Well, Terri, we saw a movie set. Okay. This is a Native American ceremonial site that is not a set. This is the real thing.
That's right. They really use this and have for like 15 years.
Yes, it's all here. This is amazing.
That's right. You can see some of the framework behind us. You've got the arbors and the teepee poles and the SWAT lodge, which over here is the males, here's the females.
Yes, they're separate. They're separate, the men's and the women's.
Smart. Very smart.
The female teepee and the male teepee, where it's ready to go, and because of the light, as you can see, we're able to do some superb shadow work.
I think that the women might get a little chilly in theirs.
Yeah, maybe.
The Black Hills Wild Horse Sanctuary is truly one of America's greatest private wilderness areas, where wild horses are protected, nurtured, and allowed to roam freely. Thanks to Dayton Hyde and the staff at the sanctuary, the legacy of the wild horses and the lands on which they thrive can be preserved for future generations to enjoy.
Well, that's our show today. Thanks very much for watching.
If you want to go on more nature adventures with us, check out our website, natureadventuresonline.org. While you're there on our website, you can learn so much about us. You can also learn what happened behind the scenes of this episode. Also learn about our Nature Adventures live programs that we do.
Yep, and don't forget, check us out on Facebook. But we have fun. We hope you had fun, but you'll have more fun if you go on your own nature adventure.